Well, the Bruins getting back to work. Casey Middlestat saying hello to some old friends in Buffalo as the Bruins look to get back on track on the road, and they'll be on the road for a while. Start of a 5-game road trip that begins in Buffalo, and Sofia Jurcevic will be your ringside reporter for all 5 of those games. Bundle up. It's cold in Buffalo, and it's really cold everywhere that they go on this road trip, which, of course, continues in Western Canada and Seattle.
Isn't it always cold in Buffalo? Doesn't matter what time of year it is. It's always cold in Buffalo.
It is. It's snow there pretty much in July.
Yeah. But the Sabres are red hot.
They are.
We welcome the Bruins Breakaway live presented by Granite City Electric Supply. Adam Peller and Billy Jaffe, Barry Peterson joining you from our Salem 5 studio as we get you ready for Bruins Sabres. And, you know, going into the break, not a great taste in your mouth after the Bruins 5-game homestand, to say the least. That's being kind, especially after the way the last 2 games ended for the Bruins. A 6-2 loss to the Senators on Sunday, and then on Tuesday the 23rd, a 6-2 loss to the Montreal Canadiens, in which the Bruins gave up 4 third-period goals.
Yeah, it was brutal. I mean, and it's not the kind of way, obvious statement, first one of the night, you want to go into break, especially considering you had this 5-game homestand that I think at least my expectations were is that they would get, let's say, 6 out of 10 points. Okay?
Minimum, yeah.
Right? And yet then they performed so at a different level. And my question now, as I keep thinking about it, going over, having a few days off, trying to take time away from hockey, is I keep saying to myself, all right, is this what the Bruins actually are? Is this what they are? Or was this just a bad stretch? I think these next 5 games are probably going to tell us, at least in my opinion, Barry, an awful lot.
I agree. I'm still in shock. I thought coming off of that road trip, yes, as we have said, the Minnesota game was kind of a latter part. But, you know, you got 4 out of 6 points. You're coming home for a 5-game homestand. You're playing the right way. Things look like, okay, now you have an opportunity in your division and in the East, which is so tight, to kind of move up a little bit. Because, yes, you had a lot of games in hands, and you still do, and people caught up a little bit, but not enough to you. You had a chance to make some damage. Man, and it wasn't only the fact, as you just mentioned, Billy, that they lost. It was the way they lost. Those last 3 games that was tough to watch.
Yeah, leaving points on the table against Vancouver, and then obviously things going very badly against Senators and Canadiens. As we take a look at the Bruins at the holiday break over the last couple of seasons, you see the record, 19-13-4 last year. Remember, the Bruins' Jim Montgomery parted ways in November, and the Bruins got a bit of a bump when Joe Sacco took over as the interim head coach. And so that was their record through 36 games in 2024, through 38 games in 2025, 20-17-1. And, you know, some of the numbers that jump out, Bruins a lot better offensively than most people expected. The power play a lot better than most people expected. But, you know, again, one of the biggest problems, guys, is the fact that they just spend way too much time in the penalty box.
That they have, and we saw that the last game in particular, where you have not 1, but 2 5-on-3s in the third period, which just really put you behind the 8 ball. It just put so much pressure on your goaltending, on your penalty killers. And it's not only that they lead the league in the minors and by a big amount. It's the fact that they're reckless type of penalties, tripping, slashing, holding. You know, if you're going to run somebody through the end boards, the coach goes, okay, we can live with that. That's all right. We'll kill it off. But it's been really hurting them. It's very taxing on the entire team.
Well, yeah, and I got to think that there's some penalties that are being taken that, I don't want to watch my words, tick off your teammates. I do. And I think that impacts, you know, I know they're great guys, and I know they're a great team, and I know that they want to win, all that stuff, but some of the penalties now, to Barry's point, are just bad. And we thought we got through it, right? We saw it for a while, got through it, and now they're back in it. To me, it's the number one thing that needs to be cleaned up. It shows that they're, let's say, mentally fresh, that they're mentally back. And they talk about mental fatigue and all that stuff, and that's fine. Start showing it on the ice. And one way is to stop taking penalties that is absolutely bringing down your team in many ways.
Yeah, if you think back to that 7-game stretch, it wasn't only their defensive game and goaltending that got better, but we kept talking about 2, 3 penalties the entire game. Not a period, the entire game. And that's what they have to get back to.
After that game against the Canadiens and Andy Brickley's conversation with Marco Sturm, here's what the head coach had to say about that third period in which the Bruins allowed 4 goals, including the 2 5-on-3 goals that we were just talking about.
Well, if you look at the goals against, we got scored on from the first to probably the 5th goal. It probably came all of individual mistakes. It's unfortunate, some unlucky bounces, but that's how sometimes sports go. But overall, we have to find a way. I think this break comes at the right time. You could see a little bit. Guys were a little bit fragile from this past week, and we just didn't have that same confidence going in the third period, and that's why things like that happen, unfortunately.
All right, for more on the Bruins as they get ready to turn the page, Sofia Jurkovic joins us from Buffalo. A little bit of a rocky start to the post-holiday schedule, Soph.
Yeah, honestly, I think getting older means you learn how to control what you can and let go what you can't control. At least that's how I've gone about my life. Made it a little easier to be zen. And this morning, like you said, rocky start, but out of the Bruins' control, right? Weather, flight delays, all of the above, which meant that they landed late in Buffalo and they weren't able to have a morning skate after the holiday break. And even though, like I just said, it's something they can't control, Marco Sturm did speak to the media this morning and did say it wasn't going to be easy.
Yeah, it's going to be a big challenge. Unfortunately, things happened here this morning at the airport, so guys didn't really skate for 4 days almost. Never even had a workout, so we got to be hopefully we're going to go through this game a little bit without injury, and we were asking a lot from the guys, to come in and be ready to play, but it's not going to be easy. So we just got to make sure we're going to be careful. We're going to prepare them like we always do, and because we don't just come here just to because it was on our schedule. We want to leave here with 2 points, and that's why it's going to be mentally it's going to be a little bit of a challenge today. That's for sure.
Yeah, so you heard Marco Sturm say mentally and physically, obviously, because they didn't get that morning skate. When they did land and get off the bus, the team did have a quick off-ice workout. We know that this is some of the best training staff in the world, so they got them as ready as they possibly could. But I guess I just wanted to throw it back to you guys in the panel. For an average person who goes to the gym and takes a week off for the holidays, it's not that hard to get back into it. But when being physical and taking hits and speed is your job, 4 days, I imagine, Barry, is not easy when you haven't skated for 4 days to just get back into game form.
No, it's not easy to get back into game form, Soph, especially when you're, if you're going to use Billy and I, we ate and drank way too much. But I think from the Bruins standpoint, the one thing
you guys for sure.
Yeah, the one thing that they could have on their side is that Buffalo had their 3 days off as well. Buffalo was hot coming into the break. The Bruins, as we've been talking about here on the set, kind of needed this to try and regroup.
No, absolutely. And, you get a little bit more, I guess, team bonding on the plane. But like I said earlier, you can't control it. So get that out of your head. Get back in the game mentally. Maybe the break for the Bruins was a positive one. And I know just from seeing the energy in the room, I had to kind of walk through the dressing room to get to the bench. There's music on. The guys are ready to go as best as they can be prepared. And we'll see what they produce on the ice tonight, guys.